Shalom, Sister Ebony
and Sister T.
Sister Tay, and welcome to the Rock. And we just wanted to come to you with a video on something we recently discussed between each other, and of course our master joined in and answered any questions that we had. You know, our master's been talking about, for most of his channel, of women getting covered. And our master and Sister T have counseled many families on, you know, women being covered, and a wife and a husband's role. And so recently we got on a discussion on sheltered women, and we were just discussing amongst each other, the sisters at first, of, you know, what it is to be a sheltered woman, and is that the reason why sometimes some women end up doing things not biblically, not in the faith, and, you know, comparing that to a covered woman, which our master, you know, explained to us that being covered and sheltered is, you know, the same thing. Sister T can read the definition on sheltered real quick.
Okay, I'm gonna just go with the definition that applies to what we're talking about. So protected from difficulties or unpleasant realities. And that's the definition that goes with what we're referring to. Yeah, and things that are similar is to protect, keep safe, shield, and also covered was in there. Screen, cover, shade, keep from harm, provide for protection. So those are things that are similar.
And so we were just discussing, we had a situation come up where, or many situations actually, where women whose husbands cover them and shelter them from, you know, difficulties and unpleasant realities, and try to get them to understand what a biblical wife is, what a husband is and does for them. Just like our master covers us and shelters us. We don't go out into the world much because of, you know, what's going on, and our master likes to keep us protected, us and the children. So he most of the time goes out and, you know, will do the shopping, do those things. We pretty much stay here on the rock, and sometimes a lot of women don't understand that, like don't understand or can't fathom not leaving their home, not leaving their land for long periods of time. Of course, we, you know, go to feast days and fellowship and things like that, but as far as going into the outside world to go, you know, shopping on a regular basis, we don't do that, and we're fine with that. We do understand why. We do understand what's out there and the protection that our master is providing for us, and we are grateful for that. But a lot of times women are not grateful for that. They don't understand what their husbands are providing for them, and the role that they're supposed to be playing as a wife, that we are the husband's helpmeet. We are here to be there and help our husband in whatever needs they are, not just physically, but, you know, mentally, providing him peace and those things, being obedient and submissive to him. knowing that He is the head, knowing that He is the provider, He is the savior of the body. If we have any questions, we are to go to our husband at home. We're not supposed to be going to anyone else unless it was, approved by our husband.
Yes. Okay. So, anyways, we want to let y'all in on it. That, basically being covered or sheltered can be, is a good thing, but it can be something that can be bad too as well. A lot of times, it can go multiple ways. In one way, being covered, there's safety and protection and things like that, but some women don't know how to appreciate that shelterness because they're always used to getting up and running. And, it reminds me of the Bible saying women going from house to house, speaking things that they should not be speaking, gossiping. That's what they're really doing, because what else is really out there? When you are a covered woman and you have a master, you have children, you have a home to take care of, you have children you're raising and stuff. And there's not that much out there for that you just have to go see. And we've already been trained to do that. So in one half, women or part of the women believe, well, he's trying to trap me. He doesn't want me to think, see the freedom I made. Yes, he wants to control me and my actions, behavior.
Use it in negative.
And it's taken negative, as if at any time, if we wanted to, we couldn't get up and leave, because we can. We can. We have the ability to leave at any moment.
Or do what we want. We can do whatever we want to.
Really? You just got to pay the consequence.
Yeah.
The consequence is what you do. It's like that point right there. There's good consequences and there's bad ones. Just like there's a good shelter and then there's bad. So we're sheltered we chose to be sheltered. We chose that we wanted to be sheltered. We're glad that our master wanted to shelter us, and we chose to be obedient to that sheltering and chose to trust his judgment. I'm to the point that I don't even like going out the property. We just went to go get some teeth work done, just to get our teeth worked on. I didn't want to leave by myself. I ain't leaving by myself. But that's not because he feared me or anything. It has more to do with I don't want to be out. I know it's a changing world as well. And we learn about those things, and we're aware of the changing world. It's not the same world that was, 10, 20 years ago. It's just not the same. People aren't the same. People don't function the same. There's a lot going on. And I want to make it. I'm a mother, and I'm a wife, and I'm a mother, and we have things to take care of, and children to take care of, and a master to take care of, at home, and things at home to take care of. So what do I need to be out there for?
Some women don't understand that too. When they are able to stay home and say homeschool the children, and how that can affect the children also. We hear all these different stories about what's going on in these schools, and it's scary that some women are not jumping at the fact that they can homeschool their children and keep your children safe, and know what you are putting into your children, not relying on someone else on what they're putting into them, and then all the peer pressure and all the other children, and how they are influencing, not having the world influence your children, that you are putting into them and raising them up in the way that they should go. Sometimes a lot of women don't even understand that, and still say want to put their children in public school when they have the option of keeping them at home and teaching them. And they can still, some people like, well, we don't want to keep our children from being social with other children and having that experience either. There's fellowshipping with other families, feast days. My master and us, our children know the luxury that they have of being homeschooled, and they know what they are taught and shown what's happening out there in the schools and in the world and stuff like that, how they need to be safe here on the rock, because the outside world is bad. How these children are being snatched off the corner right in front of their homes and stuff like that.
Yes. And so, another point that we were discussing in our conversation too is after, you hear so many of these conversations and discussions, you realize some of the sheltering, though, if some women want it that bad, they're turning their shelteriness into this thing of now they're being forced to behave in a manner that, that they shouldn't, they're trapped, and or they're turning their shelteriness is now they believe that they are entitled to things. Mm-hmm. And they get this entitlement mentality, like they're supposed to be taken care of now that they are home and doing all this, and the man has gone out. They're not even appreciating the shelterness and the benefit of being sheltered and being covered. And in that case, in our discussion, we're saying, well, if you're not going to appreciate the shelter, being sheltered and being covered, and you just want to be out there so bad, then maybe you need a taste of what's out there again to understand what you have. And I think that's another thing that we're talking about. Sometimes if you ain't been out there like that, you probably don't appreciate the sheltering. I know that before I was able to stay home, I worked and I was out there catching buses 4 o'clock in the morning. I was doing a whole lot of things before I ever had a covering and before I was protected, and many times scared, literally scared, hoping, praying that something doesn't happen to me each time I am going to one bus station to the next, just so I can work or just so I can go to school. And I appreciate not having to do that anymore. I appreciate that I can be here and that our family is safe, our children are safe, and that our master trusts us to bring up the children right and schooling them the way that he sees fit, and educating them the way that that we can, giving them our all, versus some teacher who is paid to do this, who do not put their all into each and every child, who's not invested the same way in your children. And then they are going to be influenced by the influences based on the way we're raising them versus societal views. So I appreciate the ability to be home, to take care of master at home, to take care of the children at home, to take care of our homestead at home, and to make a home cooked meal, so, but not everyone understands that.
The other point we were discussing is, does sheltering women or the wives cause them in a way to want to go out there because they are covered and protected from difficulties and unpleasant realities? Does being sheltered / covered cause a woman to do that? And so when we were discussing, we came to the conclusion, no, it's the women and their mentality and their ungratefulness and being spoiled and not understanding and appreciating what their purpose is, the gift that they've been given, the mercy that they have been given to be able to have a husband that is able to provide them to be covered the way that they are and everything that they are just blessed to have. No, being covered and sheltered should not cause a woman to be to go back out there into the world. Our daughters are growing up in the faith, and they're going to go, they have their father in their life, unlike, most of us. We didn't have our fathers in our lives to be able to, our father give us to our husbands. We didn't have that privilege, but our daughters are growing up in that way, and they're going to be given, they are sheltered right now, they're covered, they understand that, and then they're going to go from their father to their husband. And so their whole life, they're going to be sheltered and covered. And that does not, because that is biblical. That's how it is supposed to be. That's how it's been taught to do. That does not cause a woman to want to go in the world. That's something that's in them that they are not trying to correct or get in line with what Yah says. In the Bible, it says that if the father or the husband sees that their daughter or wife are going, away from being obedient to the husband or the father, that they're supposed to like keep them even more covered and sheltered, like lock them down. They can't do anything without the father or the master's approval. They're not supposed to have any type of liberty in order to get them back in line. So even the Bible teaches for the sheltering and the covering of women, because that's the way Yah made us to be. Right? Yah made us to be covered. We were not made to be on our own, left to our own devices and those things.
Actually, I like what you said, the not left to your own devices. I don't think women we in general, we weren't raised that way, so we don't understand the protection and the safety that comes with being covered, and that you left to your devices is the reason that you are destroyed. The reason you're not covered, the reason that you ruin opportunities to be covered, the reason you are women with children unwedded or just out there whoring and unwedded is because you've been left to your own devices. You have not been taught what it is to save yourself, what it is, the value in saving yourself, the value into waiting until you're married, and then the protections that come with it. You've been taught that you're your own person, and someone's they're telling you to do something, they're taking that liberty and right away from you. And this whole feminist idea is the reason why the families are destroyed as it is, especially in the black community. This is exactly why that they don't have families, because of that type of thinking and that type of attitude. Because women want to be their own person. They think, I'm just as good as you are. You're just as good in the position that you're supposed to be in. You can't do a man's job better than a man. You just can't. You weren't designed to. Just like a woman who does her job right, that's a woman's job, not a man's. It's just, they don't understand the difference is we both have a role, and I can be the best in my role. I can't be the best walking in your shoes. I'm not going to be the best version of me, not the best version of someone else. When people always say, I'll be my best version. Well, how you been your best version trying to be in the role of a man? You ain't been your best version. Aren't you a woman? Being your best version is being in the role that you are meant to walk in. And if you can't walk in that, you're not being your best version. You're trying to be a version of something else that you have seen or something else. And how is that panning out for you? Well, I have success. All right, and hopefully the success will take you to being sheltered when you need it. Because there's a lot going on out there. Mm-hmm. It's like she said, there's not just children being kidnapped and people being shot regularly now. There's a lot going on out there. And if you be your best person and you walk in those shoes and you have to take on the duties of a man. In fact, I just read something recently on the news talking about women are in the worst state they have ever been in. Depression, faced with all these hard times. They don't have no help and no one to care for them. And they just wondering who could help them and all this sort of stuff. And that's you being your best version, walking in the shoes of a man. Because you don't appreciate being covered. And it seems that it's just so hard to do the job of being covered and just make sure your master is taken care of, as far as you've been his helpmeet and comforting him and just helping him, whatever that may be, and raising up his children correctly. So you can't have both.
Another point we talked about too is how women, wives, can be, how they are easily influenced by people outside of their family, their husband, children, the wife's family, friends from before, that don't live, that aren't in the faith and aren't living the same thing that your husband is living and that you are living now. We see a lot of wives speaking to those outside influences and how they influence the woman to do things contrary to what they once believed to what their husband believes, and cause them to like not see the vision, not see their husband's vision anymore, not know their purpose anymore, and cause them also to not understand what being sheltered and covered is. Because a lot of times the family, they won't understand. They won't understand what the husband is doing, what the wife, what their daughter, my father, my family, they don't understand. This life covered, you have to ask your husband for what? You have to ask him for everything? You can't do what? We can't come see you whenever we want to? You can't come see us whenever we want to? Little things like that, and then other things, but those are just examples. We just see a lot of times that is a major thing that will cause the wife to want to leave and not be in the faith anymore, to want to leave everything that they've had, everything they've been blessed with, provided with. You don't want to add anything to that?
Yes. Wow. And another thing, so yeah, when it comes to that, sisters, you have to be very, very, very careful, even when dealing with your own family. It's sad that we have to be careful with our own family. Our family is just not supportive of what you do, and it's a shame, and it's very hypocritical how family they took time out in their younger years to live out the life that they chose. Whatever they chose to do in their life, they did. And then when you make a decision for your life, they're not supportive because that's not what they would have done. And a lot of times you're looking at your family like, I'm looking at what you've done, and that's the reason. That's definitely a reason why I don't want to do what you did. Like, I don't know what you're glorying over what you did, but what you did didn't turn out very great. And even if it, but if they chose that, that's fine for their life. But so I'm choosing what I want for my life, and I don't understand the lack of support in that. Where you go do what you want to do, but then you want to tell me that what I'm doing ain't good or ain't good. Well, no, I'm making a decision like you did, and and making a decision for our life. So if I choose to be a submitted woman and you chose to be a independent woman,
making money, whatever,
that's what you chose, and you reap the benefits and the consequence of your actions, and I'll reap the benefits and the consequence of mine. It sounds fair to me, but it's very sad that now women in the faith do not have their family support, because anybody, whether it be family or friends, anybody who is telling you to do anything different than what your master is already instructing you, then you don't need them in your life. That's not the type of influence you need, because it just takes you off the path and the goal that you are supposed to be on. When you're on that mission, that path, that goal, that's where your focus needs to be. You don't need that distraction of someone trying to have you doubt and constantly planting seeds of doubt in your own master's vision, and then causing ruckus in the marriage between you and your master. And then they're going to turn around and say, see, I told you. And it's like, no, it wasn't I told you, it was you planted seeds, and when those seeds took effect, and then I operated according to the seeds you planted, and then it causes this big disaster. You're like, see, I knew it was going to happen. No, you knew it was going to happen because you planted. You know that wickedness that you planted. So don't let anybody get into your ears telling you anything. If you don't respect my master, his vision and what he's doing, and be a supporter of it, not for yourself, you ain't got to support it for you because you ain't doing it, but be a supporter of it, then you don't need to be a part of it. You don't need no part of me, because I'm making a decision just like you did. And if I'm not forcing you to be a part of it, so we got to be careful with these people in our ears. And we are in that time frame now where things are getting worse, and the Bible says it's a narrow path, and if you're not strong in what you believe, you're going to be taken off that path. If you're not set on what you believe, you're going to be taken off that path. Someone is going to get to your ear. The snake, what we've been calling it. The snake will start talking to you as they did Eve.
All right. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you have anything to add, comments, or questions, please leave them in the comment section. We hope you have a blessed and wonderful day. Shalom.
Shalom.